Hello again, traders, and welcome back to the Hot Stocks Outlook for September 1st, 2023. I hope y'all are having an excellent week out there in the financial markets. As always, we've got plenty of opportunities to look at today in our Outlook. But as we typically do, we'll take a look at that SPY, that S&P 500 ETF. And if you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and click on the link in the description below so you can get a live demonstration and learn a lot of the specifics about how these tools and technologies can really help you make better trading decisions each day in the marketplace. So as we look back at the S&P, we can see back going a year, we're up about 13.5%. Year to date, with this little perk up in the market, has us up over 18% again. And what we want to highlight is this recent price action that we've seen. So we had a lot of weakness throughout August, and we are seeing some things shift around. So we want to be aware of that. So let's go ahead and go into the charts. And I thought it'd be really good to start out with this opportunity here in Amdocs. So this was actually one of the markets that we highlighted, seeing a lot of weakness come into the market. We can see as August stayed very weak, certainly in this tech stock here in Amdocs, you had that persistence of weakness. But I want to update everything here and also, describe how all of these indicators work, right? So what you have here on the chart here is daily price action, right? So each one of these candles represents a full and complete trading day. And it's right up against all that price data that what you're going to see is there is a black line and a blue line value right up against the price data. And what that is with that black line value is actually a simple moving average. So that's a very common technical indicator. And what it does in this case is it looks back over the previous 10 closes. It'll add those all together and then divide by that number. So in this case, 10. And so what that does is it smooths out the existing price action for the trader. But all of that data is coming from the past. So the problem with that is that indicators like that really just lag behind what's already occurred in the marketplace. And so what we want to do is compare that black lagging moving average to this proprietary predicted moving average. And for that number, essentially that price prediction to get plotted against the chart every evening for traders, well, this is where the technology of artificial neural networks come into play, and they're performing what we would call intermarket analysis. So when we think of the data sets used to generate, predictive analytics, whether it's, any sort of generative AI or a predictive AI, you need a lot of data to use to generate. The data is essentially the fuel to be used to generate the predictions. But you really want relevant data. And so when we're talking about what is intermarket analysis, well, it's using markets that are known to drive and influence the future price of this target market. So very relevant data to the question at hand. And so it's going to look at things like, the SPY ETF or maybe the NASDAQ futures markets, but it'll also look at things like individual stocks or individual ETF groups within the tech space that may share some very important correlations. And this goes all the way down to individual stocks as well as global commodities. So, I'd make the argument that, the US dollar index has been a huge factor in how we're seeing the markets move and the strength you're seeing in just the general equity market. And so all of this stuff is critically important to understand when these big shifts are happening and may affect the markets that you're trading here. So what it's able to do is take all of this global information and use it to generate these highly accurate price predictions. And it's those price predictions that are used to really construct these indicators. So rather than have, rearward looking tools that really just get dragged around, what we have is a forward-looking predictive tool. So whenever this blue line, essentially a prediction of average prices, in this case crosses below the black line, well, it's suggesting average prices are going to start going lower. And as a trader, you therefore would want to set up to, short, take profits on shorts and act accordingly. And so we see as long as that blue line remains below the black line, we see the market went down about 10.6% over the past 34 trading days, and especially got aggressive in that month of August. But the forecasts work the exact same way, whether it's on the bearish side or the bullish side. And so, last week we made the hot stocks outlooks, things were looking still bearish, but that's because this shift was coming in right at the end of the week. So literally Friday afternoon, the dollar started to sell off, stocks started to shoot up. And you see how the software does a good job of picking up on all of this going into this week. And we see even shares of Amdocs, an area where we'd highlighted a lot of excessive weakness. Well, here we see that blue line crossing above the black line. And over the past 4 trading days, shares are up about 2%. So, even if you were on the short side, you recognize, hey, things are getting bullish, go ahead, get out of the way, or good opportunity to go ahead and get long, as we've seen in the short term, at least seen prices recover and do fairly well here. Here's Scott's Miracle-Gro. So a lot of the marijuana and just the marijuana stocks have done really well here, right? So Scott's Miracle-Gro really plays into that, shares a lot of these correlations. Well, here you see, going back to the 24th, so this being Thursday, going into Friday's trading, you see that blue line clearly above the black line, signaling that, look, the trend is up. You definitely don't want to be on the short side here, or if you want to balance out the portfolio, this might not be a bad place to go ahead and get long. You see shares up about 9% in just the past 5 trading days here. And so what we also do is we take a look at this neural index at the bottom of the chart. And this is a highly accurate short-term indicator. It's tuned to solve really short-term strength or weakness, really this problem of, hey, is there short-term strength or weakness over the next 48 hours, or you can think of it as 2 trading days. And so especially where you see that blue line crossing above the black line, strength out of that neural index persisting, it can really help you manage the opportunity and make the most of it. Lastly, in addition to your predicted moving average, your neural index at the bottom there, we have our predicted high and our predicted low ranges. So those are really intraday levels provided for traders and really provide, really limit orders and take profit points so traders can really fine tune how they want to exploit this market opportunity. So you see here in Scott's Miracle-Gro, you get that crossover coming through a couple of days where you don't get down to these predicted lows, but you see that's about one of the best entries you can get over this set of 3 days before we get this pop higher and shares moving higher there. So again, really nice move out of Scott's Miracle-Gro, really the whole sort of sector as far as again, some of those marijuana companies are shooting up or shorts covering or something's going on there. Here shares of Salesforce, and this is just a good general example to highlight some of this broader market behavior that's been going on. Here you see going into August and highlighting a lot of this weakness coming into the NASDAQ and broadly through the tech space. We see how clearly the forecast is. Blue line below the black line, neural index quite bearish over those, moving forward, those 48-hour forecasts. And you get this huge movement lower in overall prices. So we see that we've recently seen this crossover move to the upside. And this is really just what I want to highlight over this session is a lot of these shifts that we saw really towards the end of last week and going right into the beginning of this week. But you see shares off about 8% over the past 24 trading days through that month of August as that blue line remains below the black line and the forecasts are quite bearish. But here you see that blue line crosses above the black line. And so it's very clear that, look, the trend is now to the upside. Neural index remains bullish through the duration here. And we do have earnings, so a little catalyst to move things along here. But look how accurate these forecasts are. So even on a day like this where you get a little bit of a gap down, it's really gapping down just to this previous predicted low that wasn't hit. And the trend is very much to the upside. So really aggressive move there in shares of Salesforce. We can see here again, just a little bit of a pop here, about 6%, just in the past 5 trading days. And again, after that, almost month and a half where market declined about 10%, right? Here's shares of Tesla, and this was a little bit of a tell of some of this strength coming in, especially on the tech side. So again, back to this weakness through the month of August. We even highlighted soon after that crossover came through that we are seeing a lot of weakness. You may want to get out of the way, but what have we seen more recently? We can go ahead and zoom in a little bit here. Here we see that blue line crossing above the black line. Neural index gets bullish here, and you see that over the past, really the entirety of the week here in shares of Tesla, you've had a really nice pop. And a lot of that is, again, you've had this bullish forecast here. That blue line clearly above the black line, neural index bullish here for the past 5 trading days, and shares up about 11.5%, again, just in those past 5 trading periods. Lastly, here, shares of Spotify. So again, back to the tech space and seeing a lot of these fresh shifts and pivots in the market. And this is about as clean as it gets here, right? So if you're looking at tech stocks, doing your analysis, running your IntelliScan, that's going to help you actually identify, how much and where are these fresh crossovers coming through the market. Here you see shares of Spotify. You get that blue line crossing above the black line. Neural index very, very bullish here. And we get a really nice rally here. And so, if you're on the short side, you really get those indications that say, look, go ahead and cover your position, take those profits off of those, declines that we had in August. But we are seeing a lot of these predictive moving averages move above the black line. And subsequently, we get some very aggressive rallies in the price action shortly thereafter. So again, some really exciting opportunities opening up, some really important shifts. This is why it's really helpful to have this sort of information every single day. So really, as we get those really forecasts coming through at the end of Friday, right? So, coming through Thursday and Friday and going into the beginning of the week, really highlighting that, hey, there's actually some strength here and some important shifts going on in the marketplace. And you really might want to go ahead and get ahead of that, or balance out the portfolio, or get yourself positioned to make some profit here. So again, really nice move here, about 11% out of Miracle-Gro. Again, just 500 shares, about a $3,000 move just this past week. So once again, this has been our Hot Stocks Outlook for September 1st, 2023. Thank you all for watching. Best of luck out there, and bye for now.